Still live on JoyNews desk, I am Daniel Daz. We take you back to that earlier story where the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is asking the public to brace themselves for doubling of fuel prices in Ghana should the geopolitical tensions between the US and Iran continue for even the next few days. In its alert issued following the tensions, it says government must immediately begin buying and stocking up crude from the international market to minimize the shocks which would be unleashed. Let's hear from Executive Director of COPEC, Duncan Amwa. He's been speaking to JoyNews editor Fred Smith.
Tensions are rising in the Middle East because of the disagreement or the war between the United States and Iran. Tell us from where you sit what the implications are for us here in Ghana.
We think it is high time the Ghanaian government get some needed resources for institutions like BOST to at least import something that will give Ghana some fuel security. If you look at the way the tensions are escalating, Iran has indicated they are willing to target 300 different sites of the United States. The US is also saying 52 sites of Iran would go up. You don't know when any of them will make, the first step, and you definitely can imagine what the implications will be on fuel prices. Just the killing of Soleimani has seen fuel prices gone up by some 2-3% globally. We are quite certain that if the tensions do not de-escalate anytime soon, fuel prices may get to a point where it becomes probably double what it is today. And we think that Ghana should not sit and be caught ball watching. As much as possible, we should take advantage of the fact that we have enough storage space. If hedging was also an option, at this point you could do a +5 with the international market, so that if prices were to soar above what we anticipated for 2020, then Ghanaians could be at least cushioned. I do not think that we should sit and wait for things to get from bad to worse before we come back to complain or throw our hands in despair. We have the options at our disposal now. The issues are going back and forth, but one can clearly see the Iranians are not backing down. If you heard, they're actually putting a bounty of some $80 million. And clearly it tells you the situation in Kenya, for instance. It tells you that these Iranians and the Islamic world or the Arab community are clearly looking for a certain revenge posture. It will be quite unfortunate if we sit here and allow events to overtake our planning. So we think that government should make sure that BOST do get some money, at least in the immediate circumstances, to bring in some strategic stock, and then also work hard enough to bring Temoyo refinery on stream. As an oil-producing nation, we could have been self-sustaining without depending on the international market if the refinery was working. Unfortunately, the refinery, as we speak, is giving us zero output. So we would insist that whatever needs to be done to get Temoyo refinery up and running within the next few days, we should do so that if we are not even able to bring in finished products, whatever we produce locally, we don't need to export it back to the UK to go back for the finished product. We can refine some here and take some from the Ivory Coast and the neighboring countries if the international dynamics become quite ugly, as we are seeing.
What information do you have on the stocks at BOST?
It will be difficult at this point for any Ghanaian to wait on BOST to come to our rescue. The last time we checked, they don't have a single liter of strategic stock. In fact, they are not even bringing products for a while now. We believe strongly that the government may need to invest in them at this point, get them the needed resources to at least bring something to cover for your strategic stock position. If it's between the 6 to 8 weeks, at least you cover for 2 months, knowing very well that if the tensions do not de-escalate anytime soon, you would still be able to have something to fall back on. But as it stands, BOST doesn't look like it can sustain us if fuel or products do not come in, on a day-to-day basis as we have currently.
The local currency is also not doing well against the dollar. What would be your projection in the light of the performance of the cedi against the dollar and the situation in the Middle East for the next week or so? What will be happening in the oil front?
You see, Fred, one thing that we often do argue for government to ease down on taxes has to do with the fact that when world market prices go up, because you're a producer nation, your incomes or revenues also do go up. So it is not the case that because it's gone up, Ghana is losing. What you're also producing and exporting, those incomes would go up. And so we would expect that once government revenue goes up, there will be some attempts to use a bit of it to offset some of the taxes that we have asked government to review on a number of occasions. If the government decided to do away with the special petroleum tax because of the city's poor performance and world market issues, I'm sure the oil marketing companies will be quite happy. What we have seen in recent times, where we've even gone down on the price stabilization and recovery levy, which the president authorized personally, which is good. We do think that the energy ministry, the finance ministry should be working at a more sustainable pricing point where we can ease down on the levels of taxes as we have currently. If we do not ease down on these taxes and the cedi continues to depreciate and world market prices are also soaring, it may get to a point where fuel prices may just become unbearable for the Ghanaian pockets, and we do not think that we should get there. We need to start planning now. At what point would we ease down? If it goes to 70, if it goes to 80, if Platt went above 700, 800 per metric, we should have that plan in place so that once government knows if crude was going to 80, my revenue side would be enhanced. So I need to find a way to ease down on the taxes. We should be able to have the dual pricing mechanism as we've proposed in the past at this point.